Fact-checking is fake, and it's actually kind of dangerous.
Newsmax Greg Kelly says it's dangerous to fact check. You can't just fact check political rhetoric. Here's more of his whining. Take a look.
Just before Donald Trump took the stage, I had a feeling things were gonna go south because this person here, Rachel Scott is her name, from ABC News, laid down the ground rules.
NABJ has partnered with PolitiFact to fact check this conversation in real time. You can access that feed on social media using the hashtag #NABJFactCheck.
Oh my gosh, you can't fact check political speech, rhetoric, opinion, you can't fact check it. And as we know, Google and all the search engines have now been rigged against conservatives. It sounds great, you hear the audience going crazy, it's not. Fact checking is fake, and it's actually kind of dangerous.
Fake and dangerous. And he wasn't the only person that was upset about fact checking. According to the New York Times, about 45 minutes before Trump took the stage, the former president pushed back on NABJ staffers who wanted to live fact check the event, according to a person familiar with the planning. The board pushed back against the last-minute demand. When Trump took the stage, he said the delay was due to NABJ's audio issues. The NABJ's president, Ken Lemon, told Axios. Trump's team said, well, can you not fact check? He's not going to take the stage if you fact check. He continued, there were audio problems, but they were resolved very quickly. The bigger problem was his threat not to take the stage when he agreed to go on. He did not want to be fact checked, but we could not let him on the stage without fact checking. Lemon says he was prepared to go on stage and craft a statement saying they couldn't compromise on fact checking. But eventually Trump walked on stage to start the event. Unsurprisingly, the fact checkers caught Trump in a multitude of lies, and we'll get to those in a minute. But Cenk, what do you make of this argument from Greg Kelly that it's dangerous and unfair to fact check political speech?
Well, fact checking is dangerous if you're full of crap and you don't have any facts. Then they're gonna check your ass, and that's why you're not in favor of it. Come on, guys, if you're a right winger, you really can't see it. So if you wanna say, hey, mainstream media is full of crap and what they call facts are not necessarily facts, you're actually gonna have an ally in me, right? And I wrote part of a book about it, Justice Coming, and I explain how the mainstream media is the matrix, etc. But they generally don't make things up. What they do is they frame it in a way that is pro-corporate, etc. So I can show you exactly what's wrong in some fact checks, but that's because they're not actually doing fact checks. They're reframing an issue. And if you've got an issue like that, you could easily beat them on it. I know, because we did a fact check of New York Times when they wrote a story about me in 2020, and all of a sudden they had to print a retraction and a correction, I should say, because they were wrong, right? And it's kind of easy to bust them when they're wrong. But when you say, I don't want any facts checked, what you're saying is, I'm gonna lie. And everybody knows that. Come on, you've never met a BSer in your life? Trust me, they don't want to be fact checked. And guys, right wing has gotten into this conspiratorial thing of like Google's rigged. Everything in the world is rigged against them. I know, you're the most special victim in the world, okay? And this right here is the smallest violin playing just for you, okay? So I know the facts are rigged, everything is rigged. Okay, well, how are they rigged? So I could show you, for example, here's wrong framing, and that's why it's wrong. So you tell me how. Nope, I don't want to talk about it, because Google and facts are rigged. And you can't fact check the politician? If you're a right winger, you're really gonna co-sign on to not fact checking politicians? So we're just gonna let the Democrats say whatever the hell they want and everybody's gonna pretend it's true? That's crazy. If you start out as a populist, and this is what drives me crazy about one of the things that drives me crazy about Donald Trump. We need a real populist in this country to take on the establishment. And he's such a fake populist, he's ruining the brand of populism, right? So a populist isn't supposed to lie to you 24/7. Isn't supposed to be a con man. They're actually supposed to stop the con men on the other side. But instead, he's like, oh no, real populists want politicians to only be full of crap and not have any of the things that they say be checked. That's not at all what a populist is. So he's just a fraud in every imaginable way. What were you saying, Was?
Who's fact checking the fact checkers?
Yeah,
that was one of their favorites back in 2017, 2018, when the media kind of first rolled out the idea that they would be fact checking all of Trump's public appearances. That was their initial retort. The fact checkers need to be fact checked.
Okay, well then my point to that is I agree. So why don't you fact check them? If you double fact checked, I love it, right?
Yes,
but if you don't check any facts, then what are we doing here? How do we have a conversation when we're not in the fact-based world?
To Cenk's point about places like the New York Times, like the other day, like the Israeli soldiers who had like an uprising and a riot because, like the courts, like the military hierarchy was like, look, we got to have some level of chain of command here. You can't just rape and sodomize like prisoners. Like, y'all have to follow orders. Like, this is a military, it works on this. Like, if y'all not listening to people according to their rank, like this whole thing breaks down. Like, you can't do this. And they basically had a riot over the right to rape Palestinian soldiers, sodomize them. And the New York Times is like, there was a mild disturbance at the court.
Yeah, they called it unrest.
That's how they framed it. They called it unrest. Yeah, basically. And they didn't lie. It's not a lie, but it's like, man, what a way to describe that occurrence,
So that's a great point, Was. And so that's why, like, kidding aside, I love fact checking the fact checkers. In fact, they intercepted that on a big scale about that Israel-Palestine issue. And what they found out was when Hamas kills terrorists, they say that those people were slaughtered and it was horrific, et cetera, all the mainstream press, right? But when Israel kills civilians, the assumption, they never say murdered, they never say slaughtered, they use much milder terms and imply that it was accidental, et cetera. So, and it's not just about Israel, guys. They call Joe Manchin a moderate, for example. I don't think a single political policy position he has is moderate. They're almost all radical corporate positions that are deeply, deeply unpopular, right? So there's a way that they frame things to trick you, and we point that out all the time, no matter which side it falls on, left wing, right wing, et cetera. But if you say, let's just let go of the fact-based world, then you're lost. Then we can't even communicate with you because, okay, I say a fact, you say a lie. How do we adjudicate when we're not talking about the same things, right? So, and it's sad if your side is the one that's saying we shouldn't worry about facts. That means you lost.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to just to get away from, there is good fact checking. And there were groups that fact checked Trump's speech or Trump's questioning at this event. So PolitiFact conducted a live fact checking of the responses he gave at NABJ. When asked whether he agreed with some Republicans characterizing Harris as a DEI hire, Trump launched into an unwieldy attack claiming Harris had always promoted being Indian and that he didn't know whether she was black. And of course, that's an obviously false characterization of Kamala Harris and her background. And of course, PolitiFact rated the statement pants on fire, the worst possible rating. Trump also claimed nobody died on January 6th. Scott asked Trump whether he would pardon the supporters who breached the US Capitol building. In his response, he mischaracterized the number of fatalities investigators have tied to the incident. They shot a young lady in the face who was protesting, Trump said. They shot her in the face. You know nobody died that day. You do know that. A June 2021 bipartisan.
That fact check does not take a lot of effort.
No.
Look at earlier sentence. We're done.
Right. A June 2021 bipartisan Senate report found that, including Babbitt, 7 people died in connection to the attack. Among them were 3 law enforcement officers and 3 other people who attended the pro-Trump rally.
So I'm gonna, again, look guys, if you say, hey, some of those folks died later and I don't agree to the 7, no problem. That's a perfectly legitimate conversation, right? If you say Ashley Babbitt didn't die that day, Okay, not a legitimate conversation, right? If you say, hey, January 6th was bad, they obviously shouldn't have broken into the building and all this stuff. But I don't think they were trying to do a coup. Yeah, okay, we could have a debate, and those guys in particular didn't know about the whole plot. Okay, so we're open to actual conversations. But if you say, oh no, January 6th were just tourists who wanted to go visiting, and what am I going to do with you, right? So please pick leaders who aren't inveterate liars, who don't have a pathological problem with the truth. It's not too much to ask for. And if you say, oh yeah, you too, all your guys said that Joe Biden wasn't too old. Not us, so yeah.
I was saying in 2019, where were you?
Yeah, me too. I took so much crap for saying he was too old in 2019. But our job is to deliver the truth. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.